Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about a Geometry Dash situation that's actually been unfolding for the better part of like 6 months now. Pretty serious allegations have been made against a massive Geometry Dash YouTuber, and pretty much it seems nothing's really been done about it. I haven't seen this person make any sort of response. I've been looking on YouTube, I looked on Twitter, and I have yet to find any sort of official response to this situation. Keep in mind, this is a pretty serious one too. It's not like, this is just some run-of-the-mill YouTube drama or something like that. We're talking about very serious allegations with screenshots that have been made in this situation, and nothing's really been done. YouTube hasn't taken any action. This person hasn't responded, and it seems like the talk in the constant pressure that was kind of there when this broke is kind of just falling apart, right? It seems like a lot of people are fatigued when it comes to this situation, the people who've been involved in it, and almost like maybe they just don't think anything's really going to be done. I think that's why a lot of the talk has kind of died down, because the allegations about this whole thing started coming out like months ago, and a few people have made recent videos about it. I looked on YouTube, but as far as the people who were actually involved in exposing all of this, it seems like they've all but moved on in this situation because nothing's been done. So the person we're going to be talking about in today's video is a YouTuber by the name of GuitarHeroStyles. You may know who this is by a couple of different aliases. This YouTuber also goes by It's AdvyStyles, and GuitarIn. This is a Spanish gaming YouTuber, by the way. GuitarHeroStyles was apparently the first Geometry Dash YouTuber to even reach 1 million subscribers on their channel, except for Rob Top Games, according to the Wikitubia. If you guys don't know what Geometry Dash is, it started out, I believe, as a mobile game. It's essentially just kind of like a rhythm game, a challenging game where, you gotta face these different obstacles and you gotta time it to the music in the background. It's all colorful and bright, and there's a lot of EDM music and whatnot, so this is the game that you're seeing in the background, Geometry Dash. This is what the entire situation's kind of about. So GuitarHeroStyles has been accused of some pretty major things, right? And there is some evidence to this. There is a victim statement that was originally posted on Pastebin, but it apparently got deleted by moderators or by the user. However, it was archived through the Wayback Machine, so I was able to take a look at this because this came out October 23rd, 2021. So like I said, this has been a pretty good while since these allegations were starting to get made. There's also some Discord screenshots from several people on Twitter that were posted in some threads. There was one thread on October 24th we're going to take a look at from a user by the name of Pan that has nearly 7,500 likes along with thousands of retweets. And another victim came forward with some screenshots as well that show some pretty disturbing conversations, if we're being honest here. So we're going to go through kind of all of this here and just kind of show the proof, show the allegations, and kind of talk about this situation. So first, I kind of want to go through the thread with Pan here because this is the first exposure that I had to the situation, and I think that this is probably the best place to start when talking about this entire situation here. This thread is in regards to AdvyStyles / GuitarHeroStyles, a popular Geometry Dash content creator. These tweets may be disturbing for some, so view at your own discretion. A few people from the maintenance team, including Paws, Hato, and I, were informed about inappropriate actions from Advy towards women. After we were informed of the situation, we reached out to various victims about their relationship with Advy. These discussions were conducted privately with careful consideration to the victims' well-being. A few did not wish to talk, but others did and provided their experiences with Advy, one of which has a public statement provided that will be posted on her behalf. This victim wishes to stay anonymous. It should be noted that they knew each other in real life. It is also important to note that this victim was an adult during their relationship. It then links to the victim's statement, which, like I said, has been deleted. That link will not work. Therefore, I will be providing links to these Twitter threads and whatnot, and to the Wayback Machine archive of this statement. The following images are of an underage victim who was approached by Advy. Advy was aware that she was a minor. The picture is a little badly cropped here, but basically he just says cool 14-year-old girl to basically respond, I guess, to a picture or some mention of a 14-year-old child. Advy makes inappropriate comments about her appearance the day after acknowledging her age. This takes place on November 30th of 2020, which is important because when we look at the other person who spoke out on Twitter with screenshots, this is basically within 5 months of it happening to this other person too. So the timeline kind of adds up there, right? We got, messages from the same 6-month span from two different people here. But in this screenshot, we're going to go ahead and read. I do because, well, it's hard to explain, but the way of how you write the messages impacts onto the person you're writing to, and in your case, it's like, it brings me happiness because you look super cute and all that stuff. Like, you know? So it makes me excited whenever you talk to me. I try to respond as fast as possible, or that's how you make me feel. Advy comments about her voice later on. He then expresses disappointment at how little they are in voice calls with each other. Your voice says a lot, trust me. It's like, give this person a hug right now? Did I say, I said 100. That was my impression. Was that actually your impression, LOL? I liked your voice a lot. I still do, of course. Sadly, we don't call that much, but it's fine. So essentially what's happening in this last screenshot here, from what I can interpret, it appears that AdvyStyles is basically trying to guilt trip the user that's had their name and everything blacked out here in order to basically get into voice calls with them more. Keep in mind, once again, just right before this, he had been acknowledging her age and had been making some pretty creepy and weird comments, you know what I mean? Talking about hugging a child 100 times, a 14-year-old, in fact, saying that they look super cute and all that stuff and that she brings him happiness. These are obviously very inappropriate comments to be making to someone who's 14 years old. We're also going to get into AdvyStyles' age here in a little bit because I looked it up and I did a little bit of like tracing against like these dates and everything to see how old he would be in comparison to how old the victims in this situation would have been. Some victims expressed difficulty discussing their accounts, so those who wish to stay anonymous had their situations posted here on their behalf. Other victims may wish to provide their own experiences publicly. After investigation, we concluded Advy has shown inappropriate behaviors to members of the community, especially towards women. Comments made were unsolicited and the victims expressed discomfort towards them. Some comments also demonstrated manipulative intentions. The safety of the community is important to us. We do not condone any inappropriate comments or actions of any kind towards minors. We also do not condone any inappropriate, unsolicited comments or actions to anyone. Moderators should know this per the mod guidelines. So this is where everything kind of started, right? Where everything kind of began for me. This is where I first started learning of this whole situation after multiple people approached me through my email and through Twitter about this situation. So I felt the need to kind of take a look into it to see what was going on. And, you know, you see things like this, man, and it's pretty shocking because this is a person with millions of YouTube subscribers. You can definitely argue that Geometry Dash is maybe not inherently made for children, but a pretty sizable portion of this community is made up of children, right? Personally, the only people I know in my own personal life who really grind Geometry Dash or would care about this community at all are children, you know, younger relatives and things like that. In fact, I remember playing Geometry Dash back when I was like 13, right? I do not play the game anymore. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is a kid's game or anything like that, but I will say there's a pretty sizable amount of children in this community, and to have someone who's so massive in this community getting screenshots accusing them of saying these things thrown out on the internet, that's pretty bad, right? Like, I think we can agree it's not a good situation, and no content creator would ever want to be in this situation, which is why it's weird that I cannot find any sort of public response from Advy on this situation. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of excerpts from the victim's statement that was posted on Pastebin and then archived. I'm going to be honest with you, it's pretty long, you know what I mean? It's got some paragraphs to it. It's not short by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm going to kind of highlight some of the things that I thought were pretty important reading through it in terms of allegations made, some of the details about him potentially being manipulative and whatnot. He was nice and sweet to me in the very beginning, but after a month he started showing his true colors. He started using me as an emotional punching bag, not in an I need to vent way. He would also blame me for everything that was wrong in his life, treating me horrible while he was upset, and rejecting to tell me anything about what was going on, making me feel both guilty and clueless. He would punish me for something I didn't even know if I was doing. Following the emotional abuse, the sexual abuse appeared. I realized he'd never take no as a response, trying to force me into, you know, with him every night we spent together, trying to manipulate me into having it. He would only be nice and caring with me at night, just moments before he would force me to do things. At a point, he would even say to me, quote, "I know that you'll let me do this if I keep kissing you." Sometimes he would even fully force me to do this with him while I was crying because I felt bad emotionally, even with several explicit no's given to him. I did this with him several times without my explicit consent and with my explicit negative to it. After a year, the emotional abuse got worse. He would give me the silent treatment constantly. He would still punish me for everything that was wrong in his life and also threatening me if I dared to talk to him on stream because I, quote, would ruin his job. The people who got close to him can agree you can never say something against what he thinks or believes. He thinks his words are law and everything he says and thinks is perfect. If you even try to say otherwise, he would get absolutely livid. I suffered both, you know, types of abuse, to say it lightly here, from him for more than 2 years, and I just don't want anyone to suffer what I did. He loves female attention, he's addicted to sex, he has a god complex, and after what I've lived, I believe he will do anything to get what he wants, especially related to women. He has several masks that start to disappear after you get to know him. At first, you're like a new toy, he takes care of you, makes you feel loved and worthy, but over time he gets bored, especially if you demonstrate an emotional bond towards him and starts showing his true face. So these are some pretty serious allegations, man, like literally criminal allegations at this point, you know? Obviously, if someone doesn't consent to this type of relationship and you're essentially forcing it on them, or you're manipulating them into doing it with you regardless, they're literally crying while you're doing it, obviously you should know, number one, that that's completely wrong. You should not want that. And on top of that, man, the other kind of allegations that, you know, like basically love bombing, it seems like. At the beginning, you know, he was apparently all cool, and then as time goes on progressively, once that emotional bond gets, I guess, to start building, he changes as a person and starts treating you like complete garbage and ruining your self-esteem and trying to manipulate you into doing things you don't want to do, right? These are serious allegations, and they line up with what other victims have said. You know, we just went through this other Twitter thread here where they basically have accusations through these Discord messages of him trying to manipulate a 14-year-old girl into talking to him in voice calls more while he's calling her cute and all this other stuff, right? So a lot of these allegations seem to line up, you know, especially when it comes down to like the manipulation and things like that. So now we're going to go ahead also and go through the final Twitter thread that I want to bring up here, because I think that this is an important thread too. This is all coming from a Twitter account by the name of Luna TTV. Okay, this happened on October 24th, which is the same day that the first Twitter thread ended up coming out. I'm fucking disgusted, but there are some things that I want to share. Ever since my "I'm not cute" joke roamed about my community, he instantly hopped on. I don't have screens from when we met in 2020 because my old Discord account is basically gone, but here are logs from my DMs with him. Now, as you can see from the messages on the screen here, these take place basically over the better part of a year. There's messages from late April all the way through October of 2021, which is about a year after some of the first allegations through screenshots and whatnot started to appear. So this is like a year-long or so timeline of evidence and screenshots being brought against him. He's essentially just calling her cute and bitch and stuff like that in these screenshots here. But the original poster of this says that they met in 2020, which is when the other Discord messages basically came out about this entire situation. He also called me a bitch so many times, which I thought was a joke back then, but looking at it now, he probably had some bad intent going into it. And then this is all within like a couple of days here, but he calls her a bitch, a fat bitch, tells her she doesn't count. Like, this is kind of weird, you know what I mean? I don't know how you can play this off as a joke. You know, a joke's funny, I guess, maybe the first time if both people are in on it, but when you got 7 screenshots of you calling someone a fat bitch, a bitch, things like that within like, you know, 10 days, you're shooting 70% from the field there when it comes to you saying this type of shit. That, you know, it doesn't really become a joke anymore after that, right? At this point, it seems like this is what you're actually trying to say and you really mean it. You're just masking it off as a joke or whatever. And it's just weird in the first place because I don't know what he's trying to do here. I don't know if this is supposed to be like attractive or romantic, but this is definitely not. I feel betrayed. I feel upset. Guitar, if you see this, do better in your future, please. If you want more screenshots, I can provide them need be. You can contact that Discord tag, I guess, if so. I haven't done so. I don't know if this is even a legitimate tag anymore, but it's there. It's public on Twitter, so I'm going to share it. Adding on to this screen were messages in 2020 when I just turned 17 2 months earlier. And as you can see, repeatedly calls her cute within the matter of 2 days. Now you might be thinking, oh, well, I mean, she's 17. The age of consent in some places is like 16 or 17. So maybe this is completely legal and acceptable, right? Personally, I don't know about it, right? Because it's still completely fucking weird and creepy to me because when you look at this guy's age, in April of 2020, this guy was 22 years and 9 months old, right? So he was 3 months away from being 23, flirting with a 17-year-old on Discord. To be fair, he was 22, so I guess moving him up to 23 on a roundup may not be fair to him, but even then, man, 22 and 17, that's fucking weird, bro. You should not be attracted to a 17-year-old. You know, this is somebody who's in high school. You would be graduating college on a 4-year degree at this point if you went straight to college. Like, You are not in the same mental maturity range. You are not, in the same place in your lives. This is just not acceptable in my opinion, man. Being 22 and 9 months, also on top of that, trying to talk to someone who's freshly 17, talking about their cute, not okay with me, man. And his birthday's publicly available, by the way. I looked it straight up, and he's 24 years old now, so he'll be turning 25 this year, which means he was turning 23 in July of 2020. And that's just with the latest victim, right? The latest Twitter account that I was talking about. So we're talking 22 and 17 for the second one, but on the first one, man, his birthday had already passed at this point. So he was now 23, flirting with a 14-year-old, according to all of the screenshots that we've seen, right? Not only is that a 9-year age difference, but it's also somebody who cannot legally consent to anything in terms of like a sexual relationship, at least anywhere that I'm aware of. So apparently this AdvyStyles guy, he lives in Spain, and so I looked up the age of consent there, and it's 16. So she was clearly underage for anything, right? Like, it's just straight up fucking weird, and this is like a legitimate crime at this point. Like, he's flirting with a child, you know? So I've been looking for any sort of like public acknowledgement of these allegations, or like an apology, or him trying to debunk these claims, and it took me forever, to be honest with you, but I finally found one. There was a screenshot of a post that he made like in his YouTube community tab that was posted to Reddit with a translation. You can see the response that he made here, okay? It is obviously in Spanish, so I am going to also read the English translation for the obvious English audience that I have. The vast majority of you speak English, so after everything that has been made public about me, I want to clarify some points. First of all, I want to stress right off the bat that at no time have I ever had, with minors. I've only had a single partner, which was of legal age since we dated, and it was from May 2018 to October 2020. Next, to say that at no time have I ever mistreated or abused anyone, and in either case, I will take action regarding this. Finally, I feel deeply hurt for everything, and it is true that I have flirted with some people. I condemn this behavior I have had, and it will not happen again. Nevertheless, I need to think about everything, and therefore, I've decided that I'm going to give myself some time off from social networks in general until I feel better. Take care, Luis. Okay, so unfortunately, this explanation doesn't really address anything, right? I mean, no one was outright accusing AdvyStyles in these Twitters and stuff like that of him having any sort of like actual physical relationship with any children. He was being accused of basically flirting with children and trying to groom them in a way on Discord messages into, talking to them so he could hear their voice and calling them cute and shit like that. Then he goes on to say, well, I have flirted with some people. I condemn this behavior I've had and it will not happen again. But once again, he doesn't really clarify who he's flirted with. I mean, this statement is so general, it could really mean anything. Like, yeah, I've also flirted with people too. But the difference between you and I is I don't go flirting with fucking 14-year-olds on the internet through Discord, right? I'm not 22 looking for a 17-year-old, bro. Everyone's flirted, but who are you flirting with? That's the allegations. That's what you need to be addressing. And then he goes on to say he's going to be taking time from social networks in general until he felt better. Keep in mind also, when he claims that this post that he made, addressing these allegations that I finally found, it was posted on October 24th, 2021, which is the same day, basically, that the Twitter threads and everything came out. And that's when this Reddit post was posted, right? That kind of exposed this entire thing and kind of documented and archived it. So I went back and I looked through his YouTube and his Twitter page to see if he really did end up taking time away, or whether or not it seemingly was said, I guess, in order to get some sort of like sympathy/attention. He then posted a 1.5 minute long video addressing the allegations, which I wasn't able to find because the title's in Spanish and I was searching in English, but you can go ahead and take a look at that now. This was 2 days after he said he was taking time from social media.
Buenas tardes, familia. Hago este vídeo rápido y meramente informativo para compartir con vosotros lo que ha ido sucediendo en estos últimos días.
Now, many of you probably aren't going to understand what you're seeing here, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of, because I watched it with captions on, so he essentially called what happened on Twitter and the accusations a quote-unquote public stoning. He went on to claim that it was basically slander, even though it's not slander because there's screenshot evidence of him saying these things, and then he went on to half-heartedly admit to it in his post. So I'm not sure how it was a public stoning or slander or anything something like that if, you know, you basically half admitted to it. Usually you don't half admit to slander, so. Then 4 days after this video that he posted addressing this, he was right back to uploading and streaming content on his channel, so this time that he was supposedly taking away from his channel and whatnot to address this very serious allegation amounted to like 4 or 5 total days, considering he streamed the day that this all happened as well. So I wouldn't really call that quote-unquote time away from social media to fight these kinds of things personally, but anyway, that's basically what's happened here, and it's been kind of bubbling over for a few months now, right? Like, a lot of people aren't really talking about it anymore, but I looked through his channel and everything to see if he ever responded again or made a video disproving these claims, and no surprise, that never really happened. He kind of just let it all go and went right back to uploading content. So after 3 people came forward with lengthy victim statements, you know, multiple screenshots of what's purported to be his account on Discord, flirting with children and attempting to manipulate them into talking to him. After all of this happened, he basically just shrugged it off after accusing these people of slandering him and publicly stoning him and altering his career brand and image. Personally, if I was accused of these things and it was slander and, you know, they were just destroying my reputation with false accusations, I would be doing a lot more than putting out a community post where I virtually address nothing and just kind of half-heartedly talk about the situation, and then follow it up with a 1.5-minute long video. There'd be a lot more than that, right? I'd be trying to disprove these claims. So if GuitarHeroStyles can actually disprove these claims, I don't really know what's going to come of this situation. I don't know if it's ever going to get addressed again, or if anything will ever really happen again with this. Maybe, you know, videos continue to get made like this and nothing ever happens, or somebody can step up here. If these rumors are really so false and so just not real, then Advy, you need to step up and show some proof. You need to step up and actually prove that you're innocent and that you're not doing what's claimed as being done here. I don't know if we're ever going to see that happen, though. It's been months at this point, and like I said, you know, new people haven't been coming out from what I've been able to see. And so that kind of, I think, really limits whether or not anything else will happen. So with that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the AdvyStyles allegations and signing out.